Apple Inc. is an American multinational technology company that revolutionized the technology sector through its innovation of computer software, personal computers, mobile tablets, smartphones, and computer peripherals. One of the most recognizable brands in the world, Apple created the first commercially successful personal computer, and was also the first to bring the graphical user interface into mass adoption. Founded by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak in 1976, Apple set new benchmarks in product innovation, user-centric functionality, aesthetics and design, and multi-product integration. Apple redefined and transformed the capabilities of modern computing. Further, Apple innovated the industry by establishing a marketplace ecosystem for third-party application developers, leveraging this new economy to expand its products' functionalities and strengthen its position. The company is headquartered in Cupertino, California. Mac Computers. Evolving since 1984, the Mac line has set standards in the world of personal computing. iPhone. Essentially a sophisticated computer packaged in a flat cube, the iPhone was a game-changer in mobile technology, altering the way people communicate and consume media. iPad. Bridging the gap between smartphones and laptops, the iPad opened up a new market for digital tablets since its debut in 2010. iPod, a digital music player, the likes of which hadn't been seen since the Sony Walkman. The iPod revolutionized the music industry in 2001, transforming the way listeners consume music. Apple Watch. Launched in 2015, the Apple Watch is among the most dominant products in the wearable tech sector. MacBook. Apple's brand of laptop computer, the MacBook has become a mainstay in personal and professional environments. Apple TV Plus. As Apple's entry into the streaming entertainment services, Apple TV Plus has become a dominant player in the subscription-based entertainment sector. AirPods. Since the product's launch in 2016, AirPods have become a leader in the wireless audio market. The genesis of Apple Inc. sprang, not from a vision of an ambitious venture, but from a more modest aspiration. Stephen G. Wozniak had a lifelong dream of building his own personal computer. Wozniak was inspired by the Altair 8800, the first commercially successful microcomputer launched in 1975. Further encouraged by his friends at the Homebrew Computer Club, a hobbyist group, he quickly developed a simple gaming motherboard, his first personal computer. Wozniak, then a 26-year-old engineering intern at Hewlett-Packard, presented his design to his employer. When the company expressed no interest, Wozniak teamed up with a former high school classmate, 21-year-old Steve Jobs. The two decided to set up their operations in the Jobs family garage, founding Apple Inc. on April 1, 1976, along with Ronald Wayne, an experienced tech industry executive who would play a role in helping facilitate and integrate the young founder's company vision and operational pursuits. Jobs and Wozniak each held a 45% stake in the company. Wayne had a 10% partnership stake. To fund their venture with working capital, Jobs sold his Volkswagen minibus and Wozniak his programmable calculator. With the help of its first angel investor and Intel Corporation veteran Armis Clifford Mike Markkula, the company unveiled its inaugural product, the Apple I, in July 1976 at a Homebrew Computer Club meeting. Selling for $666.66, the Apple I was a bare motherboard with a basic CPU, random access memory, and video capabilities but no keyboard or monitor. Nevertheless, the company's first product marked the garage startup's first success, however minor, selling 200 units that year. Later that year, Ronald Wayne decided to leave the fledgling company, selling back his 10% share for $800. In January 1977, with Markkula providing his expertise and seed funding of $250,000, Apple Inc. was incorporated. Apple II, the company's next product, was released in April 1977 and became the first widely distributed microcomputer. It was a commercial success, some 5 or 6 million units were sold over the next decade. This new iteration hinted at a slight design breakthrough with its custom-molded plastic casing, a departure from the steel-encased designs of the time. The Apple II also included color graphics, sound and television plug-in capabilities. Selling for a base price of $1,298, it was perceived as a user-friendly product, contributing to its success among general consumers. Having achieved its first milestone in the larger consumer market, the company boosted its competitive position when Wozniak introduced a disk controller enabling an affordable floppy disk drive. This inclusion enhanced Apple II's data storage and retrieval, making it faster and more reliable. In 1979, Jobs led a team of engineers to see the innovations created at the Xerox Corporation's Palo Alto Research Center in California. At PARC, they were shown 3 features that would serve as the company's game-changing innovations. The functional graphical user interface featuring on-screen windows, a pointing device known as a mouse, and the use of icons in place of awkward command line instructions. These features would be integrated into 2 key projects in development, the Apple Lisa, released in 1983, and the Apple Macintosh in 1984. The idea was to develop low-cost and user-friendly personal computers that would introduce the 2 innovative features, the GUI and mouse, to mass consumers. The Lisa was geared toward business professionals, while the Macintosh targeted the broader consumer market. Apple's profits and size grew at a historic rate. By 1980, the company netted over $100 million and had more than 1,000 employees. In December 1980, Apple went public, offering 4.6 million shares at $22 each. Apple's initial public offering was the biggest since 1956 when Ford Motor Company went public. As a formidable contender in the emerging PC market, Apple would soon face competition from IBM, the computer industry's leading player. IBM launched its own version of the personal computer in 1981, breaking with its tradition of using only proprietary hardware components and software. The system soon had a new spreadsheet program, Lotus 123, that changed computing and created what would later be known as a killer app, a software program so useful that it propels hardware sales. Upon its debut in 1983, the Lisa's $9,995 price tag was more than 5 times the cost of an IBM PC. The Lisa also had numerous hardware issues and incompatibilities that made its performance sluggish compared to its competition. The Lisa was an epic failure for the company's foray into the business computing market. But Apple fared better in the general consumer market with the release the following year of a product that might even be considered iconic. Introduced to the world via television commercial during Super Bowl 28 on January 22, 1984, Apple immediately became a household name. The commercial, directed by Ridley Scott, struck a hard blow against IBM, associating it with the dystopian authority of George Orwell's novel, 1984. The Macintosh's integration of a user-friendly GUI, all-in-one design, and affordable price of $2,500 made it accessible and appealing to businesses and technical users, but also to general consumers. Although the ad profoundly affected viewers, becoming one of the most iconic commercials in Super Bowl history, it generated more cultural buzz than commercial sales. Despite ecstatic media reaction, the Macintosh initially sold below Apple's expectations. The Mac had insufficient memory and storage capacity. It lacked essential features like cursor keys and a color display. Furthermore, skeptics doubted that adults would ever want to use a machine that relied on the GUI, condemning it as toy-like. In the wake of the poor sales performance, Jobs was ousted from the company in September 1985 by Chief Executive Officer John Sculley. Wozniak had left Apple in February 1985 to become a teacher. Under Sculley, Apple made steady improvements to the Mac, most notably the introduction of an affordable laser printer, along with Aldus Corporation's PageMaker, the Mac's first killer app. Together, these innovations launched the desktop publishing revolution. In 1987, the Mac II and Mac SE were introduced. The Mac II was the first of the Mac line to incorporate color graphics and a modular design, while the Mac SE was the first to offer an expansion slot. Although these products boosted Apple's popularity among consumers, the company would soon be mired in legal challenges. The Mac's incompatibility with Apple II software slowed educational sales and compelled the company to retain its outmoded Apple II line through 1993. Apple litigated for years to stop Microsoft from copying the look and feel of its operating system, while Microsoft introduced Windows, its own graphical operating system. As successive versions of Windows improved, and competition among multiple PC manufacturers led to greater innovation and lower prices, fewer consumers were willing to pay the premium Apple had commanded, owing to its reputation for quality.